question from Luciano. In the coming mayhem in international affairs, military powers will use the clout they have to keep control as long as possible. I do consider a nuclear attack war very possible. India is beside very volatile countries like China, Pakistan, and Korea. Is India a safe bet for residing when things are falling apart?
Depends on where you go. I wouldn't want to be in the middle of Delhi or Mumbai. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them. Or Chennai, for that matter. Kolkata. Not any of those places are safe for many different reasons besides war. But, you know, then I wouldn't want to be in New York or Santiago or Buenos Aires or, you know, any of those places either, for the same reason. So, you know, our plan is to go to a traditional Vaishnava village in an area of India which is very, very traditional and conservative, and where there has been probably the minimum sinful activities of anywhere on the planet. Because you see, what causes hardship, what causes disasters, what causes wars and suffering? It's people's sinful activities. You know, you can find stories of people who went through World War II, right in the middle of everything, and nothing happened to them. You know, and you can find people who were like in the middle of the most protected place, and you know, had a heart attack and died. You see, it's about karma. And so if you want to find the safest place possible, you look for the place that has the least sinful activities. Huh? And if you really want life to be exciting, go someplace like LA or New York. Disaster every minute there. So our plan is to go to, well, we're going to do this tour. First, we're going to write a book. Then we're going to develop this MBA program associated with the book. Then we're going to go to India and go to all the major schools in South India and offer to license the program to them. In other words, we're not going to go there and get a job. We're going to go there as content providers and say, we have this program. If you like it, you can license it. That money will pay for relocating our community to South India, and will also pay for a big enough piece of land that we can set up agriculture, and we want to concentrate on raising medicinal herbs, not food. People are still going to need medicine. In fact, they're probably going to need medicine more than ever when things get rough. So that will put us in a very good position, very good bargaining position for food and things like that. Plus, we want to set up food storage and food distribution and like that. We'll be expected to do that. As Westerners, everybody's going to think that we're unlimitedly wealthy. So we have to set up some kind of village food distribution program that's going to be required. So with the funding that we get from the universities, we'll be able to at least do that for long enough that we'll have some standing in the community and like that. But the basic principle is that disasters happen where there are sinful activities, and to the people who perform sinful activities. So if we go to a place which has the least sinful activities, a Vaishnava place, maybe not the same lineage because that would be too far north, And that whole area is going to be in serious trouble. I don't like North India anyway. There's too much influence of Muslim culture like that. So we'll go in south, and we'll go, I mean, I've been in villages in South India where there's never been a motor vehicle. Ever. So they don't want them. So they don't build roads. You know, like the biggest thing that happens on Saturday night is the ox cart races, you know. Seriously. You know, those are the kind of places that are really nice at a time like this. Those places where nothing ever happens. Modern people think that's boring. I don't think it's boring at all. I think it's very nice. Nothing ever happens. Great. Let's go. So that's the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness means they're insulated from all of these nonsense things. Similarly, they'll be insulated from the disasters. You cannot avoid your karma. If you've had a checkered past, a sinful life, if you've done some nasty things, you know, they're going to catch up with you. You know, you can't avoid it. It's going to happen. But if you clean up your act and you atone for the sins of the past and you try to live the best life that you can according to the instructions of the Vedas and like that, you can be released from that karma. Why do you think we're chanting Viṣṇusahasranāma? Why do you think every morning we get up and chant the holy name? To be released from our karma, to be excused from our sinful reactions. And it works. We actually become purified. Whereas people who don't attempt to escape the circle of action and reaction, they're forced to commit more sinful activities as a result of their previous sinful activities. And they're forced to suffer for everything that they've so-called enjoyed. So we can understand that the future of these countries where there has been so much material enjoyment is very, very dark. It's going to be very, very tough. They're going to get heavy, heavy reactions for all that cow killing and all that material enjoyment. This is the story of the world. This is the story of history. This is the story of every single empire, every civilization that's ever existed. They got big, they got wealthy, they got arrogant, they overindulged, and then they were destroyed. Either by disease, by war, by overextending their resources, or whatever. Somehow or other, their karma catches up with them. So we want to be in a place that has the minimum amount of karma. You know, it's a pretty simple plan, actually. So, next question.
Question from Theo. The prophecies of Sundar Singh say Romania is going to be protected from the worst of it and rise as the new spiritual center of the world. I wonder if there's any truth to that.
Okay, well, you can go to Romania. Well, you know, drop us a postcard. Let us know how it's going. What's in Romania, anyway? No doubt.
Mother Swati, please accept my humble obeisances, Babaji. What do you think of Mauritius? It is southern hemisphere and half the population has Indian roots.
Yeah.
Middle of the island is much higher than sea level.
The problem with any island location is going to be the ecological problems with the oceans. Some of the things that are forecast indicate that there may be an anoxic event in the oceans. What happens is if there's, for example, in the tropics, not in the tropics, in the polar regions, there are layers of permafrost perpetually frozen, especially on the ocean bottom, that have a lot of methane in them. And when the oceans heat up, which they're going to do because there's going to be a lot of undersea volcanism. There already was an undersea volcano eruption in somewhere in Sumatra or Indonesia or somewhere. There's going to be a lot more of that as the planet heats up due to all this energy flowing through it. And that's going to heat up the ocean, and when the ocean heats up, these layers of permafrost, especially in the Arctic regions, are going to dissolve and start emitting methane gas. Now, when this methane gas reaches a certain concentration, there's a danger of it exploding. Any little spark, because methane is extremely flammable. So that when the methane explodes, this would trigger a huge release of sediment from the ocean bottom